And there we go.
You do see the coin flip coming down. This is going to be a match between Hex Colin and Destrozeitor, which is the most destructive name I've seen in a while. Look at those sleeves. Damn, son. It is rare. It is probably one of the single most rare things to do to see those sleeves. I've watched Colin play a lot of games. I very rarely see him actually use
Well,
his
it's a good
sleeves
thing
for
we
Big
featured.
Exalted.
It's one of a kind.
Yeah. His opponent should probably concede. If you see those sleeves, it's a good idea to just, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to get into the round with you. Here's your win. And we will see Colin pick up his opening hand. Again, he's on a delay, so we will be talking about his hand. Can't tell what any of those cards are. They're all extended, like Colin's entire collection, if you've seen that video on YouTube. At least a playset, not his entire collection. That would be silly.
Now, while we're waiting for this match to begin, what kind of deck do you think will use the most possible alternate arts and still be viable?
Probably Blood Sapphire. So we see Destrozeitor leads off with a diamond and shard calls to find himself a shard of any type. Another strong turn one play that was given to us by set 3. And we see the Blood Shard come out. So we are seeing Blood Diamond versus Blood Sapphire here. A Living Totem has hit the board. And we'll see Colin lay down a second shard here. See if he has anything to do on this turn. He tunnels the troop in his hand. Third resource comes out from Destrozeitor. He can now use any of the Living Totem's abilities to pump it up. Instead, he's going to put down a Soul Marble before swinging. Doesn't really change much because Colin had no resources open. Just an interesting thought process there. The order of operations, doing everything in main 2. We see one resource going onto the Soul Marble before he even passes turn, just signaling, I have nothing, here you go. We see Colin lays down a third resource and will likely pass off his turn here.
Now, Reese, extended art. His robots that he makes are extended art. But unfortunately, the transformed worker bot that Bertram makes is not extended art.
That's true. At end of turn, we will see Time Ripple on that Vampire King, knocking it back to hand. We'll see a fourth shard come out for Colin here, which is kind of a big deal for him here. He's been drawing the shards that he needs to really get his deck online, and we'll see if this plays out for him. Destrozeitor losing a little bit of tempo having that Vampire King sent back to hand, but has been swinging in with the Living Totem, has dealt 4 damage so far, and will deal at least another 2 here. Colin holding on to his charge power, pretty much signaling what he's doing with his tunnel troop here.
The Time Ripple also has an additional purpose here. He's got it if he wants to get the Vampire King back. He has to spend 5 resources on that, which he can't. But that also means that delays Soul Marble if he wants to have that back. So that's many resources used up, slowing that down. That's a lot of Azure Fate.
Is a lot of Azure Fate, and it's a lot of Azure Fate that can be played end of turn if need be. It looks like they have the quick socketed gem in there. So, Colin looking to take a lot of damage here. That Soul Marble goes to 5 counters, can be built into a Soul Armaments or a Soul Cavalry this turn, if need be. Destrozeitor still looks like he's on 5 resources with 5 cards in hand, and we know one of them's the Vampire King. We see those counters pumping up, so we'll wonder now, is this Soul Cavalry or Soul Armaments? And it turns into a finely chiseled Soul Armaments, giving all of Destrozeitor's troops +2/+2 Spell Shield and Steadfast. As he swings in with the Living Totem here. That'll be 4 damage. Colin, of course, having the choice of throwing an Azurfate Sorceress in front of it. Looks like he will. Plays that. That'll bury a couple of cards off the top of Destrozeitor's deck.
You expect Colin to block with the Sorceress?
I'm not sure if he will, but he didn't really have a reason to play her now unless he intends to.
Well, partly playing at this point or any point after this, I don't think it influences any decision making.
Again, order of operations is something Colin has been following to the T up till now, so. I mean, he is now saying in chat that it was safe, which it absolutely is. I'm just saying that he has been following order of operations until now. He could still play a resource and then somehow have a 1-cost action to destroy it. Come on, guys. So we see Reese the Crustcrawler surfaces. Before Reese the Crustcrawler surfaces, we once again see the Azurfate Sorceress come in quick. So we'll see multiple cards buried here. Reese the Crustcrawler will hit the board, bury 16 cards off of the top of Destrozeitor's deck. Colin doesn't find a resource, which I'm sure he would have loved to here, but he gets to play the Worker Bot, which will create a Mecha Filcape, which will bury 20 more cards, and that's all she wrote. Doesn't have to swing, doesn't have to do anything, can just pass priority here. He has buried out Destrozeitor's deck. If you cannot draw a card in Hex, you lose the game.
This isn't the first deck we've seen that buries tons and tons and lots of cards. Is this going to be a thing? Azurfate Sorceress, whether it has the Berry Gem, whether it gives things Flight or Spell Shield, or the Ruby Gem of Destruction, very powerful.
Buries another 16 invisible cards there at the end. And we see Colin will go to the reserves, and as he goes to the reserves, throws up a nice logo. What a wonderful team logo. People in chat, sickened and disgusted.
Sickened and amazed.
How do you feel about Azurfate and Reese as a berry combo? Tweet us your answers at #Sapphire Cup.
So, I wonder from the stress test, they did release all the deck lists. I wonder if they will continue to do so for any of their tournaments that they will be officially hosting.
It's hard to tell. I mean, I think if anyone asked Data Dragon just for that text file, it'll be easy to get.
I should go to Data Dragon and like propose a trade. I'll give him, you know, the raw copy of, you know, FiveShards, and he'll give me his. Do you think that'll work?
Probably not. So we do see game 2 starting up here. Destrozeitor will get to decide whether to go first or second in this matchup. So we will see Destrozeitor choose to play first or second. Maybe. Maybe he will. Might be AFK. Looks like that maybe the reserves went to full-time there. Might be grabbing a dinner or a bathroom break. And it looks like he chose to go first. We'll see Colin's opening hand, and that is a scary pair of troops, but they're paired next to a bunch of shards.
The namesake card of one Hex Community Manager.
I wonder at what point during working at Cryptozoic they decided he was a brood priest. Destrozeitor, of course, still taking his time here. So you see that opening shard come out, almost certainly will be a diamond.
And of course, the player proves the caster wrong again.
It's interesting to see a blood shard there. If he top decks an Angel of Dawn here, it won't come into play. We'll see a Shard of Cunning hit the board for Colin on his side of the board. Plays out a Sapphire. Turn is passed. Again, it's worth noting that there's not a whole lot to do on these early turns with the way Hex currently is. Arcane Focus and Dual Shards are incredibly powerful in giving you a turn 1 play. We'll see a Living Totem hit the board on Destrozeitor's side of the board. Same turn 2 play, but this time looking at Colin's hand, it'll be a little more effective. Third resource on Destrozeitor's side of the board. And another shard call comes out. So these shard calls being used. I guess this is the first one he's played this game, but these shard calls, a good fixer, really. Although I wonder if he's only Blood Diamond in that case. In which case, I wonder if it's necessary to have both the dual shards and shard calls for fixing. I guess with multiple dual threshold cards, it could be required.
But did we see anything that really supports that? I'm trying to think.
I mean, he might be running Arenazes and Tianos, with their multiple thresholds. Double Living Totem on the board. What does this situation look like for you, Hacky?
It looks like a Finteo and 2 living totems. On the not literal side, it's hard to tell. Living totems can fly, can grow bigger, they can gain life drain, and just being able to see Colin's hand. There's not too much besides very, very timely Tarantulas. Finteo is unique, a second one won't do anything. And of course, Blood Diamond certainly has a bit of control also.
You see a Meek come out. It's a good reserves card there that will destroy Fanteo. Get him off the board before he can use his exhaust ability.
Yeah, so now that definitely leaves Colin on the back foot, but he should have some follow-up plays here.
Yeah, it does have this Arcane Focus to see what his next draw will look like.
It's not a bad thing to have. Will he opt to save that? Will he opt to try to get Finteo out? Looks like there will be a worker bot put out now to stop some of the damage. It's still not too much, but the possibility of them getting flight and then growing bigger, the living totems, still a threat. So he opts to keep the time ripple he arcane focus for.
I see Time Ripple come out, knock that Living Totem back to hand.
I think not replaying playing the second Finteo is really a sign that the second one will be too slow at creating tarantulas for his liking. At least now he can control this damage. He's not losing. His opponent's not gaining 2 health. He might even let that through. 2 damage is not as bad as 4, but he's opting to throw the worker bot to save the 2 damage now.
Yeah, that worker bot's probably not going to do him a whole lot of good anywhere else, so preventing a bit of damage is likely his best play.
And now from bad to worse as Vampire Princess. It's unfortunate the verdict's in hand as the Meek hit, unable to protect. Actually, that's probably a good reason to play Finteo now, just being able to protect him with the verdicts in hand.
Yeah, a simple bit of luck at this point will draw out an Azure Fate or 2, and if Fanteo's already seeded, Destrozeitor's deck with some Tarantula eggs, that could be all that's necessary. Protecting that with the verdict, a huge boon.
So with 6 open resources, I wonder when he's going to start pumping up that living totem.
Yeah, is the living totem going to get pumped out, or are we going to see a soul marble? No need for an extinction here.
Lucky for Colin, the Vampire Princess only hit Sapphire Shard.
Yeah, it's got a 50% chance here. I mean, that's fine.
So I don't know how I feel about that play.
Exhausting the Fantea right there really just... I suppose it kind of uh, lets the damage through, if that makes sense, but it allows for a Tarantula to be drawn off the top.
Also combined with playing the shard, I don't know if he necessarily needed to do that.
Well, it might have just been force of habit here.
Yeah,
Might have been
something
lack of worry.
Verdict
Might
can
also-
interrupt the Pact of Pain.
Might also be because he's going to throw the Worker Bot in front of the Vampire Princess here.
So all of Destructor's troops are now flight? Yep.
Yeah, which gives him a good way to swing over what is potentially a dangerous board otherwise. But with the slight manipulation of some Sapphire hexing gems, that Worker Bot will fly up to the occasion and probably get in front of the Vampire Princess. Once again, this is like... it blocks the same amount of damage and also the effect.
Yeah, so now that leaves Colin potentially facing Fatal next turn.
Yeah, I don't think the verdict was what he... or not the verdict. I don't think that this is what he wanted to draw the Shard of Cunning, but he could still hit a Tarantula here. And without that being a Tarantula off the top, we will see Colin concede the match.
No egg.
Yeah, he didn't need two Tarantulas. The chat is correcting me there.
Alright, so we're about 28 minutes left officially on round 3. Yeah, and with a good amount of players reporting already. At 3-0, we got so far at least 16 players, so that's quite a bit. Some common names we see is Kai Mimes there, No Nonsense from what we've seen earlier, Deck of Many Things, Light Reaper. Oh, this is a name I haven't seen in a while. Zantosh? Or Zantoshi? How do you say his name?
I think he's been in almost everything, hasn't he? You need to confirm that you were dropped. Make sure you just whisper 5 shards in chat. He'll let you know. We see game 3 firing up. Colin with a strong-looking opening hand. I did not say you won a door prize, shows him. Arian, Berkeley, Vermin, Disappointment, and Rubble Mike. Berkeley is your in-game name. Okay, well then, apparently Mike knew that, and I guess he'll deal with that. I didn't know, I'm sorry. So we'll see Arcane Focus come up from Colin here. He has a choice between a Verdict and a Time Ripple. Grabs that Verdict. No threats in his hand, just answers. Destrozeitor looking at his hand, considering what to do with it.
Interesting again to lead off with a blood shard or a blood threshold.
Losing out on that potential angel.
Sometimes you have no choice, though.
For everyone who's misreporting matches, you have to whisper 5 shards in chat. That's happening a lot today. You see the Living Totem played on turn 2 yet again.
Living Totem has always been strong. And this brave new meta game is no exception.
Yeah, a fantastic troop that's solid on its own as a 2-2 for 2 and gives you a resource dump. Being effective with your resources does slightly increase your chances of winning every game, so... See that Living Totem swinging in. 2 damage push through. And another Living Totem hits the board. Extending into what could be a little bit of a blowout here. We don't know what's in Destrozeitor's hand. He does seem to be playing a fairly troop-focused Blood Diamond, though. We haven't seen a Soul Marvel yet, have we?
I do not believe we have.
These living totems just gearing up for their swing. Destrozeitor reaches that double blood threshold himself.
And Destrozeitor has been using Dimid's charge power quite often and early when he can.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, he might as well since he knows that his opponent's trying to bury him out as opposed to deal lethal damage. We see the swing. No response from Colin. He just takes this on the chin. We do see the pump as well, so that brings that living totem up to 3/3. 5 damage coming through.
Extinction's being played, wiping out the living totems.
Yep, the board is clear, which is almost what Colin wants here, although he would have probably preferred to do so with more resources open. Don't think he could afford to take the damage yet again. Cerebral Fulmination played, or Cerebral Domination played. This card, of course, will mean that Colin can only play cards on his turn now. No cards, no counter magics, no verdicts, no quick troops can be played on Destrozeitor's turn. That card in itself shuts down a lot of what Colin's deck is trying to do. That is probably the biggest card that will be played in this match. A Time Ripple can deal with it, though.
Yeah, we have to assume that this is their sideboarded reserves card being put in.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's almost certainly a reserves card. We'll see the Vampire King come down, produce that big flying threat. Can Colin produce an answer here? We'll see the Azurfate Sorceress hit the board here. That'll bury a couple of cards. So, the good thing here for Colin is that even if that Vampire King hits him, he has no troops in his hand to reveal.
And the Cerebral Domination. It's a card I've been looking at since, well, I guess since set 2. Has it come out to the response of to the thread for the thread of the more controlish meta? Winter Moon, other things.
See Inquisition here as well. So Cerebral Domination and Inquisition. So Destrozeitor is going to see a couple of cards in Colin's hand that don't really change a whole lot. They aren't really capable of doing much in this particular situation. They're all reactive cards that Cerebral Domination is locking down.
So Colin now is down to 10. Half of what he started with.
10 is indeed half of 20. It's a painful 3 dead cards in hand, though.
Yeah, all 4 basically. 3 different cards. Arcane Zephyr could be used defensively if you had a troop on board.
No, even it can't be played on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, but you can use it to swing, is what I mean. It can be used offensively.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe the rule answer for Angel of Dawn coming out with, or coming up against Cerebral Domination, if it was drawn on your opponent's turn, I don't think it's played. I believe it just enters play. I think the Cerebral Domination wording is a little different.
And a Meek on that Atrophied Sorceress, the amount of things that Colin can do to stop this is quickly shrinking.
Yeah. Extinction's still very strong for him here, like clears up the board and gives him a couple more turns to draw not only into answers, but I mean he still has a good hand. Extinction into Time Ripple could do some things for him here.
And that is not an extinction.
Sapphire Shard is not what he's looking for, so that will be the match for him.
Cerebral Domination has always been one of those cards where you look at it and you go, if I play this against a control deck, they're not going to be very happy.